sat here in the past and eliminated quarterback as a possibility for first round. Is that the case this year too?
We haven't eliminated any position this year.
All right, the 2018 NFL Draft is officially here because we had Kevin Colbert and Mike Tomlin speaking at the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex on Monday, and we have our draft hat.
I was going to say, even more official than Kevin Colbert talking is your hat.
You're right.
Bigger, better, brighter.
I dig it. I like them.
It's different.
Yeah.
Looks good on you.
Well, that's why you guys are just putting yours right there, right? It's okay. You're participating. We'll take that. All right, let's get down to it. That was Kevin Colbert saying they're not eliminating any positions from the draft, no matter.
I wish he had said long snapper, by the way, but that's just me.
Well,
I would have scratched that one off.
Maybe we won't see that again this year.
Principle.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Let's take a look at the Steelers' 7 picks they have in 2018. We have picks in 1, 2, and 3, no in round 4, 2 and 5, no in round 6, and 2 and 7. So might be a little lull for some of the draft, but then things will get busy as well. But there's still 7, no compensatory picks, as we've already stated earlier this offseason when those were awarded.
You know, when you look at those, the distribution of those picks in the rounds, the only thing to me that really stands out is with no 4th round pick. You know, when the Steelers traded up most recently in the 1st round, 2003 for Troy Polamalu, 2006 for Santonio Holmes, that 4th round pick came into play either as part of the trade or as a kind of buffer if you have to give up your 3rd. And so without a 4th, trading up, you know, more than a couple spots to me could really blow this whole thing up.
28th pick, Prisuta and I will be live after picks 1, 2, and 3 as always to give instant analysis, talk about who the Steelers select, and then take you live to the press conferences just upstairs here. So always an exciting part of the year, and we'll see who will be getting one of these hats.
Yeah, and I think particularly this year, it's not a team that's, you know, without its possibilities. The Steelers are coming off a playoff season. They're 2 years removed from the AFC Championship game. Yeah, you'd like to find some more help at inside linebacker, but they addressed that in free agency. They've addressed the secondary in free agency. So, Bob, maybe one of those rare years where the best athlete actually fits. You have a lot to build around, but you also have a lot of areas that could use the influx of a good football player or two. So I'm kind of curious to see if they go inside linebacker, which seems to be the obvious choice. Do they value corner over an inside linebacker? Is there a safety that they've fallen in love with? It's going to be fun to watch this thing unfold. And really, I think it's far from locked down which direction they have to go in the early rounds.
Yeah, and especially one of the things that Kevin Colbert brought up in his Monday news conference was that, you know, the Steelers go into every season with the idea, with the goal of competing for a championship in that season. You know, but Kevin also said that they do look ahead a little bit, not in terms of which players might be in the draft class of 2019 or 2020. That's not what I mean. That's not what he meant. But what he was talking about, I believe, was that, you know, you look at your roster and what it might be, you know, a couple of years down the road. It's kind of like going to a grocery store, you know, and shopping for a week or two into the future, as opposed to just buying what you're going to eat that night.
I'll take your word for it. I don't shop.
You eat, though.
I do eat.
All right, well, speaking of shopping, let's take a look at the top 10 overall picks in the first round. We might see some trades, some teams maybe going up. You know, this is typically what happens as things get closer. But, of course, the Cleveland Browns, as we know, hold picks 1 and 4. But quarterbacks, again, we talked about this last year heading into the draft. Do you think because of the number of quarterbacks, guys, in this draft class that we could see a lot of movement and maybe things fall in place for the Steelers for whoever that magic pick is they want at 28?
Yeah, a lot of, to me, it's always about the quarterbacks in terms of creating movement in the first round. And, you know, you look at these teams that are either in the top 10 or have moved into the top 10. You know, the Jets and the Colts have already done a little movement there, the Browns. these are all teams, quarterback needy kinds of teams. And if the thing about it is with quarterbacks, there may be 4 or 5 that are talked about in terms of being first round capable or whatever, but teams tend to center in or focus in on one particular guy. And so I think the trading, when it comes, because I don't think there's any doubt that there's going to be movement in the top 10 for these quarterbacks, but the movement will be because a particular team, quarterback needy team, wants a particular quarterback from those 5 or however many end up going in the first round.
Yeah, that's a great point by you, Labs. It's not like at cornerback, for example, where you say we need a corner, and there's 4 or 5 of them that you'll take.
Yeah, right.
You'll take number 3 or number 4, whichever one falls to you. The quarterbacks seem almost as if these teams are talking themselves into falling in love with the guy they want, and then once they do that, that's it. There's no flexibility.
Or sometimes, it could go the other way, but end up at the same point where you're talking yourselves out of some of the candidates, and therefore you end up with one guy or maybe 2. And so, the New York Football Giants, to me, they're sitting in a great spot because if they decide not to pick a quarterback, I think they should get a lot of action in terms of teams looking to get up to their spot once the Browns decide. And, what the Browns are going to do, who knows? To me, the most Browns thing to do in this draft would be what? Pick 2. 1 at 1 and 1 at 4. Would that be
2
the most?
Quarterbacks.
Yeah. Would that be the most Browns thing to do? Come on.
It's supposed to be a new world order in Cleveland now, right?
We shall see. All right. On Monday, the Steelers picked up the 5th-year option for outside linebacker Bud Dupree. I know there was some talk. Would that happen? Would it not? Would it be like Jarvis Jones or whatnot? But they did make that option. Does that impact what they're going to do draft weekend, guys, in terms of outside linebacker?
I think it could, absolutely. I mean, by doing that, you have Bud Dupree through the 2019 season now, if you want him. I mean, of course, exercising the option, that money that he would be paid, close to, I think it's $9 million, is guaranteed against injury. That's the only guarantee it is, but it's not, the Steelers could still rescind that option or whatever the technical collective bargaining agreement term for that would be. But now you know that when you're looking at your 2 outside linebackers, the guys who started for you throughout the 2017 season, you have them for at least 2 more years if you want them. And so I think that creates a little bit of a certainty there. Not that they're going to ignore that position by any means, but I think it takes away some of the urgency, so to speak, in a similar way that John Bostic and Morgan Burnett, those 2 signings in free agency, took away some of the urgency at inside linebacker and safety respectively. Again, not that they're not going to add to that those 2 positions, but they don't have to do something about it right away.
So they might be buying some stuff for, to put in the freezer and worry about it next year instead of eating it in line while they're waiting to check themselves out.
Open in
a bag of chips and dipping it into the salsa while you're waiting in line. Right, see? Yeah. Stick with me.
When you put it in terms that we can understand, it becomes crystal clear.
All right, as we mentioned, Prisuta and I will be joining you live right here after the Steelers make their first pick and after rounds 2 and 3. All of the press conferences will be live, so tons of great coverage coming your way from here at the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex.
Yeah, these are fun to do. I'm glad we do this, and people should check this out.
All right, well, thanks for joining us. We will see you in just a bit.